Just to give you a COVID-19 update, right now in our province, Ontario is temporarily pausing all the enforcement and the residential eviction to ensure that people are not forced to leave their homes while stay-at-home order is in force.
Es importante aclarar que ahora, durante la COVID-19, en Ontario se ha puesto en pausa el que se lleven a cabo los procesos de desalojo para asegurarse de que las personas no se vean forzadas a tener que dejar sus casas mientras la provincia se encuentra en una orden de quédate en casa.
Landlord and tenant board procedure. I am assuming that all of you knows what landlord and tenant board procedure is, landlord and tenant board is. So on April 8, 2021, the province has announced a temporary pause on all the residential evictions. So no evictions. However, the landlord and tenant board, they continue to accept applications, hold hearings, and order eviction orders. It is against the law for your landlord to force you to move out without an order from landlord and tenant board. I will speak to you more about what that order is. If you have an eviction order against you, it is important that you seek legal help immediately or try to move out by the date stated in the board's order. If not, once you have an eviction order against you, the landlord can get a court official, usually called sheriff, who will come to the house to physically evict you, and that is legal. So if you have any eviction order against you, it is important you seek legal help right away. Kutu, you are mute.
So, a partir del abril 8 del 2021, la provincia anunció una pausa temporal a la mayoría de órdenes de desalojo. A pesar de eso, la Junta de Propietarios e Inquilinos sigue aceptando aplicaciones y llevando a cabo audiencias para manejar lo que vienen siendo órdenes de desalojo. Es en contra de la ley el hecho de que su casero o el propietario del lugar donde está rentando lo fuerce a que usted se tenga que mudar o ir del lugar sin una orden impuesta por la Junta de Propietarios e Inquilinos de aquí, de donde está viviendo. Si usted tiene una orden de desalojo en contra de usted, usted debe de buscar ayuda legal de manera inmediata o debe ver la manera de mudarse para la fecha antes o el día de la fecha estipulada en la orden que se le ha, de desalojo que se le ha entregado. Si no, después de la fecha que el contrato termina, el propietario o su casero puede obtener una orden oficial de la corte y puede pedir que físicamente sea usted desalojado.
So some of the the tenant rights and responsibilities. For example, we have many clients reaching out to us if asking if the landlord can enter their home anytime. When can my landlord evict me? The other things like my landlord wants to increase the rent again. Is it legal? I do not have any money to pay the rent. Who can help me? So all those questions will be answered through the tenant rights and responsibilities.
Cuando hablamos de vivienda, hay varias preguntas que siempre salen a reducir en cuanto a nuestras responsabilidades y derechos como inquilinos de un lugar. Muchas de esas es cuándo puede ser que el propietario del lugar que estoy rentando me puede desalojar. Es posible que el dueño del lugar o la persona que me está rentando a mí puede entrar a mi casa en cualquier momento. Yo no tengo dinero para pagar la renta. ¿Quién puede ayudarme? El propietario de mi lugar quiere incrementar la renta otra vez. ¿Eso es legal? Estas son algunas de las preguntas que muchos de las personas que nosotros atendemos aquí en FCJ Refugee Centre nos hacen de manera regular. Pero también si hay alguna otra pregunta que ustedes hayan experimentado, nos las pueden compartir a través del chat.
So what is the RTA? It's in another word, it's a Residential Tenancy Act. And this is the law that governs landlord and tenant relationship. In this booklet, it contains rules and regulations that both landlord and tenant must follow. When either the landlord or tenants break any of these rules, they must be addressed at the Landlord and Tenant Board through mediation or hearing by filing applications.
Okay. Ahora estamos hablando del Residential Tenancies Act, que es la ley que gobierna a los propietarios de un lugar y a los inquilinos y define cómo debe ser la relación entre propietario e inquilino o inquilina. Este libro contiene las reglas y regulaciones que ambos, tanto el propietario como el inquilino, deben de seguir. Ya sea que una de ambas partes no cumpla con esas reglas, esta situación debe ser llevada a la Junta de Propietarios e Inquilinos para que haya una mediación y haya audiencias, y por eso se llevan a cabo aplicaciones a través de esta Junta.
So tenant responsibilities. As a tenant, you have few responsibilities that you have to abide by that. And some of the important responsibilities I have noted here. There are many more, but I haven't. I put the most important that that the tenant has to know. It's paying your rent on time. So what does that mean? That you pay rent on the first, not on the second. So if you pay on the second for few months, it will be considered late. So it's very important that you pay your rent on time every month. Keep your unit clean. If there are any any damage to the rental property, caused by you or your guest, you must repair them. The entrance door lock, do not change unless you have the landlord permission to do so. Do not substantially interfere with the reasonable enjoyment of the rental unit or complex. So when I say complex, these are the shared responsibilities with the landlord as well. There are certain time limits, especially here and in every province, that you are not after certain hours, after 7 to 11, between that time, it's you cannot interfere, or you cannot cause disturbance, or like such as loud music. So that will be considered interference. Do not harass, obstruct, threaten, or interfere with the tenant landlord. We strongly suggest you sign a lease, understand the lease, and keep a copy of the lease and rent receipt for future references. So, for example, the last one, when I say you sign the lease, sometimes what happens is that you move in and you still haven't received the lease. So it's important that you submit a written notice or something that you are able to show as an evidence if the landlord never give you a lease. For example, you can hold the rent until 21 days if your landlord has not given you the lease. And if it goes beyond that, then you can hold 1 month rent. You don't have to pay. So again, all of these are part of the tenant responsibilities, and it's important that you know your rights and responsibilities and always keep something as an evidence or as a proof to show that, you know, either do in a written and keep a written notice and keep a copy for yourself, or some landlord and tenant, they do text message. So all those, it's important to keep in as a proof.
So now lo que vamos a hablar, lo que estaba hablando Tsering son de las responsabilidades que nosotros tenemos, que las personas tienen como inquilinos o inquilinas de un lugar. La primera es pagar la renta a tiempo, y eso significa que si tu renta se paga a principio del mes, se paga el primero de cada mes, no el segundo día de cada mes. Tienen que mantener el espacio que están rentando limpio, reparar cualquier daño de la propiedad que están rentando si ha sido causada por ustedes o por alguno de sus invitados, no cambiar las cerraduras de las puertas, las chapas de las unidades, a menos que el propietario del lugar les dé permiso para hacer esos cambios. Tampoco deben interferir con lo que viene siendo cuando nosotros decimos estamos en nuestra casa y estamos pasando un momento agradable. No se refiere a que también eso implica que hay horarios dentro de los vecindarios y las zonas donde uno vive. A esto nos referimos que pasada cierta hora en la noche, las 11 de la noche, ya no puede haber cierta cantidad de ruido que moleste a los vecinos. También estas son, algunas de estas responsabilidades son compartidas. Por ejemplo, a esto nos referimos en que ambas partes no deben acosar, obstruir o amenazar o interferir entre la relación de inquilino y propietario. Tanto ustedes como inquilinos como los propietarios del lugar no deben usar este tipo de acciones de amenaza o de acoso o de obstrucción para llegar a un acuerdo o para lograr algo que ellos estén pidiendo. También nosotros recomendamos que siempre cuando se va a rentar un lugar, siempre se firme un contrato de renta, que tú como inquilino entiendas lo que ese contrato de renta dice y también que tú mantengas una copia de ese contrato de renta con recibos de la renta que tú has estado pagando para referencias a futuros que tú puedas necesitar. Aquí también algo que mencionaba Tsering es que si por alguna razón tú ya te mudaste al lugar que vas a rentar y aún no has firmado tu contrato de renta, tú te puedes quedar con el pago de la renta mientras a ti no te han entregado un contrato de renta. Esto puede ser por un periodo de 21 días. Si llegan esos 21 días y aún no te han entregado un contrato de renta, puedes extender el no pagar tu renta, pero obviamente lo que siempre se recomienda es que si esto es algo que después se va a llevar a la junta de propietarios e inquilinos a discusión, tú siempre guardes evidencia de lo que ha estado pasando, que es la razón por la cual tú no has pagado la renta y de esa manera tú tengas pruebas a la hora que esta situación se presente.
I'm sorry, I have turned off my camera. And I'm looking here. I see that there are hand raised. Sorry, we were not able to see that. I think we can take the questions in between. So I see there is Caribel and Samuel. So I can unmute you if you would like to speak. Oh, you're muted. I have unmuted yourself. Do you have a question that you would like to speak? Okay, I can't. I'm trying to unmute Samuel and Claribel, but can you unmute and ask the question, please? Kutu?
And so I can read the question for you, so if they cannot. Okay. So some of the questions that we have here is, it is possible to get legal aid support for legal assistance with an eviction order?
Yes. There are many, if you have a eviction notice, okay, this is two things. First thing is before you go for hearing, other thing is if you have an eviction order against you already. So these are two different things. If the landlord has given you eviction notice, there has to be a number there, N4, N5, N6, N7. So depending on those numerical, it has a eviction reason. And there are many community legal community clinic in all wherever you live. You can reach out to them, or their pro bono, their legal aid, you can yes, you can certainly reach out to them. Are there any next, Kutu?
Yes, so there is another question here. So why, if it is in, I'm gonna read it in English for you, but it was in Spanish. Why in April 21 the evictions were suspended? Then why they are still accepting applications or hearings that we mentioned at the beginning?
Okay, I see that person, yes. The reason why is that they have closed in-person visit to the landlord and tenant board. However, the hearing, they still hold hearing for various reasons, right? So they are allowed to do that. And however, once your landlord has submitted an eviction notice or submitted for a hearing, it will take a while. So it's if there is if you have a hearing date, it doesn't mean that you will be evicted right away. You still have a right to hold a hearing. The landlord and tenant board, they just close in person.
Okay, so I don't see any more questions.
Thank you all for your patience as we try to read the questions and also like mute and unmute and all that. Thank you for your patience. So we will move forward, and let me see how I can take this out. Okay. So these are some of the landlord responsibilities. When you rent, when landlord give their house or apartment or their residential, or is it a shared accommodation, they have some responsibilities as well. They must give a lease and rent receipt upon request. So whenever you request that, they have to provide that, and it's free of charge. They must always keep the residential complex in good repair. So if there is any maintenance issues, you can always have them written and request your landlord for that. Landlord must also make an effort to control pests. If the landlord provides, can you mute? If landlord provides vital services such as hot or cold water, electricity, gas, and heat in cold months, he cannot withhold these services for any reasons. And again, if these services are provided by your landlord, there are times in a year that they have to start the heat, or they're allowed to turn it off, the heat. So there are certain time and certain day and the month in a year. Landlord must provide the tenant with information relating to rights and responsibilities of both landlords and tenant, and also the role of the landlord and tenant board, including name and address for services. So this, what that means is usually when you, before you sign the contract, the lease or rental agreement, it has to be shown in the rental agreement what are the responsibilities and what are your responsibilities as a tenant.
So, ahora vamos a hablar de las responsabilidades que tienen los propietarios del lugar hacia con ustedes. Y es como hablábamos anteriormente, ellos tienen la obligación de darles un contrato de renta y también darles recibos a cada mes cuando la renta ha sido pagada, y esto no debe tener ningún costo. La propiedad debe de estar en buenas condiciones. Si hay alguna necesidad de contactar a personas de mantenimiento por algún problema que hay con la propiedad, eso es también algo que ustedes tienen que hablar con los propietarios del lugar. También tienen que controlar las pestes. A veces en ciertos lugares se dan ciertas pestes de insectos o de animales, y ellos tienen que estar pendientes de esos para que sean controladas. El propietario del lugar debe de dar servicios vitales como lo son agua caliente, helada, electricidad, el gas, y también debe proveer y es importante que estos servicios, como por ejemplo también a lo que nos referimos a la calefacción, no se pueden quitar o no dar sin razón alguna, particularmente en cuanto hablamos de la calefacción, por ejemplo, en los meses helados, en el invierno. También tiene que proveer al inquilino información relacionada a sus derechos y responsabilidades, las cuales son de ambas partes, tanto del propietario como el inquilino, y el rol de la Junta de Propietarios e Inquilinos, incluyendo el nombre y la dirección para este servicio.
We will take questions, and if you would like to share your experience towards the end of our webinar. Eviction preventions. So termination dates are not eviction dates. If you have a rent arrear, such as N4, you can prevent that by paying the money you owe for landlord within 7 days, or you can set up a payment plan with landlord. If you're on Ontario Works or ODSP, you can speak with your worker and ask about the HSF fund. You can also get help through Rent Bank. However, there are some eligibility surrounding that. One of the other things that to prevent eviction is that you can set up a direct payment to your landlord through OW, through Ontario Works and ODSP if you have one, or you can do that through your bank. In that way, it will always be deposit on the 1st of every month. So as I spoke earlier regarding the eviction form that usually the landlord present to you, to tenant, some of them, N4 like late payment, N5 is if there are any complaints against you, you can prevent that. Even if you receive N5, doesn't mean that you will be evicted. You can stop that alleged behavior within 7 days So 7 days correction period, and within 6 months, you shouldn't there shouldn't be a reoccurrence of that same behavior. You can also meet with landlord. You provide a support worker name, number, and create an accommodation plan if needed. This is very important. This next point is do not ever tamper with fire or smoke alarms. So in every house or apartment or condo or any residential unit, there's a fire and smoke alarm in the house. You cannot tamper that. What does that mean? You cannot take it out, or you cannot take the battery out, stuff like that. It may cause a smoke, and then if the fire truck has to come to your place, you will be charged for the fire truck fees. This is a new legislation that allows victims of violence to provide 28 days notice to end the tenancy. So usually you have to provide, in most of the cases, you have to provide 60 days notice. But in regards to a victim of violence, you can provide only 28 days notice to end the tenancy. Kutu.
Okay. So, ahora, ¿cómo podemos evitar llegar a un desalojo? La fecha de que se presentan para terminar un contrato de arrendamiento no son fechas de desalojo. O sea, por ejemplo, si a ti te dicen que que el contrato termina para cierta fecha, eso no quiere decir que te están desalojando de un lugar. Ahora, también hay otras formas en las que tú puedes evitar que se lleve a cabo un desalojo. Como mencionaba Tsering, pagar la renta a tiempo, acordar con el propietario del lugar un plan de pago. A veces nosotros tenemos, las personas que están rentando un lugar tienen algún financiamiento de vivienda, o también la otra forma para evitar el que se lleve a cabo un desalojo y que cada primero de mes se esté pagando la renta es crear un depósito directo a través de Ontario Work o el ODSP, la asistencia para personas con discapacidad. Eso evitará eso lo que logra es que tú siempre estés a tiempo con la renta y evitar que hayan retrasos o alguno de esos inconvenientes. También es importante de que si tú puedes hacer el pago directo a través de tu cuenta de banco, esa es una forma que también asegurará de que el pago esté llegando al propietario el primero de cada mes. También es importante de que tú estés en contacto con tu trabajador, el cual te está dando apoyo para que si en dado caso hay que hacer un plan de acomodación o para mudarte a otro lugar, ellos te puedan dar ese apoyo y no tenga que ser a último momento. Una de las últimas prevenciones que Tsering estaba recomendando es que en muchos edificios o lugares que se rentan están las alarmas de humo y de fuego. No debes tratar de tocarlas o arreglarlas o removerlas por ti solo, porque eso lo que puede causar es que en algún momento tengan que llegar los bomberos a ayudar o a intervenir, y los costos de que el camión de bomberos llegue a tu edificio o al lugar donde está rentando y se dan cuenta que es porque tú has removido las alarmas o has hecho algo indebido con ellas, los costos de que los bomberos lleguen a tu lugar donde estás viviendo recaen sobre ti. También es importante mencionar que hay una nueva legislación que permite que las víctimas de violencia pueden dar una notificación con 28 días de anticipación para terminar su contrato de renta. Usualmente se pide más tiempo de por medio, pero en casos de violencia doméstica o víctimas de violencia, con 28 días de anticipo es más que suficiente.
So I have someone here, Daniel, asked to say a little more about the rent bank eligibility. So I will answer that. The Toronto Rent Bank is interest-free loans, and anyone living in Toronto may be eligible for the interest-free rent area. If you are currently if you're receiving Ontario Works and or ODSP, you have to speak with your worker if you're behind rent. And one of the other eligibility of the rent bank is that the income has to fall within the low income household, and that you're paying the market rent unit for the rental unit covered under Residential Tenancy Act. This won't be eligible for people not paying market rent. If you have a subsidy or if RGI, it will be a different case.
Tsering en este momento estaba explicando cómo funciona el banco de renta. Una de las formas es que si tú estás recibiendo Ontario Work o ODSP, la asistencia social, tú te puedes comunicar con tu trabajador social y explicarle que estás retrasado con algunos meses de renta y ver la forma de cómo tú puedes aplicar a esa ayuda. También es importante mencionar que para calificar a esa ayuda, tú tienes que no puedes estar recibiendo algún otro financiamiento para vivienda, o no puedes estar rentando un lugar a precio de mercado. Tu ingreso tiene que ser bajo o en la renta para poder calificar a esta ayuda.
So we will keep taking the questions in between our presentation. Thank you for that question. Let's go to the next slide. So there are many helps surrounding the rent bank. The first one is the rent bank that you can apply online or by calling your local Ontario Works or ODSP office. When you apply online, it usually takes 5 business days for them to get back to you. The second, if you owe small amount of rent, you can always access Sorry, I was muted. If you owe small amount of rent, you can access programs. There are many programs that tries to keep people home, and you can call 211, or you can go to their website to see, search for the programs in your area. There are also many community legal clinics across the province that give free legal help to tenants who have low income. Also, you can check the legal aid website. You can also check the pro bono. There are many legal clinics who can provide advice to you in terms of your situation. Maria?
Okay. So, aquí están algunos de los información de cómo tú puedes obtener ayuda con la renta. Estamos mencionando el banco de renta. Ustedes pueden aplicar en línea o a través de llamando a la oficina, a su oficina local de Ontario Work. Si ustedes deben pequeñas cantidades de renta, ustedes pueden acceder a programas que lo que tratan de hacer es que la persona pueda seguir viviendo en la casa que tienen, rentando el lugar donde están. Pueden llamar al 211 o entrar a la página web 211ontario.com para encontrar programas en su área que les pueden ayudar con esto. También mencionaba que hay clínicas legales en la comunidad en toda la provincia que dan asesoría legal gratuita a inquilinos que tienen un ingreso bajo. También pueden buscar información en la página web de Legal Aid, de la asistencia legal, para obtener mayor apoyo legal.
So some of the resources that you can get help with the rent assistance or financial assistance, that at our center we have this program during the pandemic, and again there are some eligibility criteria for that. We have a program where we can support people with the one-time rent assistance. Please contact us individually if you need that support. There is one specific criteria for that you are not eligible to receive any other income assistance, such as Ontario Works, SERB, all the new emergency COVID benefit. So if those are the eligibility criteria that we have. And also, if you have someone, if you have tested positive for COVID and currently in isolation period, call us also. We will be able to support you. And when you call us, we need the client name, your phone number, your email address, and what language you speak. In that way, we will be able to direct you to the specific worker who speaks your language. Maria?
Yes, sorry, I was checking some of the questions. Ahora vamos a hablar de nuestro programa que tenemos aquí en FCJ Refugee Centre, y es nuestro programa de asistencia financiera o asistencia para la renta. Nosotros tenemos un programa que está financiado por la ciudad de Toronto y es una ayuda financiera para personas que están teniendo momentos complicados en cuanto a sus finanzas se refiere por el tema de la COVID-19 o se han quedado sin empleo. Esta ayuda es de solo una vez. Por favor, si necesitan más información, deben contactarse con nosotros de manera individual para nosotros hacer una valoración de su situación. También tenemos un financiamiento de emergencia que es para personas que han salido positivos de COVID-19 y es para asegurar que la persona pueda mantenerse en aislamiento mientras pasa su cuarentena. Para este programa de emergencia hay ciertos requisitos. Uno de ellos es que la persona no es elegible para ninguno de los beneficios habilitados debido al COVID-19 por el gobierno. O sea que ustedes no son elegibles para muchos de los programas que ya están habilitados a través del gobierno federal o de la provincia. Si ese no es su caso, si usted no califica por diferentes motivos, usted se puede contactar con nosotros. El otro requisito para este financiamiento de emergencia es que usted en este momento se encuentre en cuarentena o esté con un diagnóstico de COVID-19 positivo. ¿Cómo se pueden contactar? Pueden mandar un correo o llamarnos a nuestra oficina. La información que nosotros necesitamos es el nombre del cliente, el número de teléfono de la persona, el correo electrónico y necesitamos saber qué idioma hablan para saber cómo podemos proveer traducción, interpretación. Y todas las citas que estamos llevando a cabo son por teléfono, por la situación que estamos viviendo.
I will, Harshika, I am just sending you the link for the rent bank for the Peel region. So I will send it to all here. I will type the link just now. Next one is Hadia. Many people who are on ODSP are not a big. Again, the people on the ODSP and the OW, usually when you rent any unit or house, there has to be a cut off. Like there has to be like 85% of what you receive from the allowance. It can go high. I mean, if it's too high, it's clearly a problem, right? So the other option is better find something which is more, which is more, like little cheaper, I would say, because I don't like using the word affordable because it's very hard to find that. So again, if you are behind the rent and if you're on OW and ODSP, it is very important that you speak with the worker because the housing fund, the HSF fund, they cannot provide that every month. It's once every 2 years, I believe, if it's not changed. So you can only access that once. And I think that's all right, Kutu, that I have answered. And the Peel region, I will send the link right now. And we will move to the next slide. So if you are facing eviction or need more information on the landlord and the tenant board and how the eviction works, there are so many resources out there in the community. One of them is the Step to Justice, where you will be given the information on where you can access legal help. And secondly, this is the landlord and tenant board website, which is also very important to get familiar with. If you have eviction notice or in general, if you have any problem or any trouble with the landlord. And these are some of the websites that they provide very detailed and very informative surrounding the housing issues. Kutu?
Ahora, lo que está compartiendo Tsering en la pantalla es información sobre diferentes páginas web que ustedes pueden acceder para si necesitan apoyo cuando están enfrentando situaciones de desalojo o simple y sencillamente información en qué es lo que pueden hacer si ustedes están teniendo una audiencia con la Junta de Propietarios e Inquilinos. También es importante la siguiente página que ella nos mostraba, era sobre el Tribunal de Propietarios y de Ontario, y es básicamente lo que habla es información sobre la Junta de Propietarios e Inquilinos, y básicamente la información que pueden encontrar ahí, el contacto, cómo están funcionando ahora durante la pandemia. Y es información que ustedes pueden buscar en línea para estar familiarizados con ella.
Okay. Some of the, okay, next slide, sorry. Since pandemic hit, we have many people reaching out to us in terms of seeking shelter. More specifically, the people without legal status that due to unemployment or due to less work hours, they are not able to keep up paying rent, and then ending up having to leave the place, or evictions. So one of the other options is seeking shelter. And the shelter, the City of Toronto shelter, is provided to everyone regardless of status. So they are not allowed to ask for what your legal status is. If you need a shelter, you can just call the number and tell them that you need a shelter. Some of the questions that they might ask, like where did you live, where did you sleep last night, so stuff like that, to be just so they have an idea the housing situations. So these are the numbers. It's 416-397-5637. That's the City of Toronto shelter. This is not applicable to people living outside Toronto. Again, if you are outside Toronto, wherever you live, wherever you are, you need a shelter. There are ways to get a shelter, and this is only for City of Toronto. And if you don't speak English, that's not an issue. You just press number 1 and you ask for a interpreter in your language. And if you speak English and if you're needing shelter just for yourself, you have to press number 2. Or if you need a shelter for a family, and it's number 3. And then the second option, once you press one of those 3 options, the second option it will take is if you are looking for a shelter in City of Toronto. Or you can access 311, but I'm assuming it will be more complicated to understand if you are a non-English speaking and need interpreter. So those are the numbers that you can keep for your record. María.
Ahora vamos a hablar porque hemos recibido también muchas llamadas de nuestro centro de personas que necesitan albergue. Y esto es ya sea por la situación de la COVID-19 o por que se han reducido algunas horas de empleo o por situaciones de violencia doméstica donde la persona tiene que salir de su casa de manera inmediata. Para buscar albergue en la ciudad de Toronto, nosotros el proceso que se debe llevar a cabo es llamar a Central Intake. Ellos son los que coordinan el sistema de albergues aquí aquí en la ciudad y el número es el cual aparece ahí en pantalla. El sistema de albergues lo que provee es un lugar de vivienda temporal y también dependiendo del albergue al cual ustedes sean asignados son los servicios de apoyos que ustedes van a recibir para después se puedan mudar a una vivienda más estable. Si estás buscando albergue en la ciudad de Toronto, cuando llames al número que aparece en la pantalla, tienes que apretar el número 1 para pedir la ayuda de un traductor. Posteriormente, tú tienes que, si no necesitas traductor, puedes apretar el número 2 si es para solo una persona que estás buscando albergue y el número 3 si es para una familia. La segunda opción, tienes que presionar el número 3 para que te dirija a buscar albergues en la ciudad de Toronto. Está también la opción para buscar albergue, llamar al 311, pero nosotros creemos que la manera más fácil es hacerlo a través del número de Central Intake, particularmente si eres una persona que todavía no habla inglés o habla algún otro idioma. Puede ser más fácil a través del número telefónico.
So with this, we are coming to an end of our webinar today. And these are some of the online tools that are available for public, both in Spanish and English and many other languages. And so these are all available through our website.
Ahora ya estamos llegando al final de nuestra presentación. Estamos compartiendo nuestro sitio web donde pueden encontrar diferentes talleres que se han llevado a cabo durante todos estos meses de manera virtual por la pandemia, pero muchos de ellos, si no es que todos, los puedes encontrar en nuestro sitio web.
So we will open the webinar to the attendees, if you have any questions or any comments, or if you would like to share anything surrounding housing issues, we will unmute everybody. Maria?
Yes.
Are you going to unmute everyone?
Let me see.
Espera, I think. I can't see the mute thing. Sorry.
Okay, now I think yes, I click for everyone to be unmuted. But I don't know. Just make sure that your microphone is available. Okay.
If you have any individual questions or any particular issues that you're going through, please give me a call. I'm more than happy to help and support you. There's my phone number there. It's the FCJ phone number, and my extension is 229.
I'm sorry, I just raised my hand and unmuted. I just wanted to share some information with everybody that's attending. The City of Toronto has developed a new website called Rental Housing and Tenant Information, and I just put in the chat the link to it. It's a great website, very helpful. I'm a housing worker. I do use it because we do end up with clients that face eviction, their rent being raised, and all kinds of things. So I highly recommend the website. And also, too, the city is looking for feedback in how to improve the website.
Thank you, Varna, for sharing that.
Sorry, what was the name of the website?
I put it in the chat, and the name is it's Rental Housing and Tenant Information. So if you it's easier to provide a link because, as you know, any City of Toronto website and government website is complicated to get to. So I actually put the link in the chat. In the chat box.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm trying to look the link.
It's not showing from my side.
Yeah, it's not showing. Is it possible?
It is on the questions, Tsering. I'm gonna see how can I put it on this.
Okay, thank you.
Another thing I can do as well at the end of the presentation is if you email me, I would gladly send you the information. I'll email the information back to you, and you can provide it on either your website or to email all the participants.
So I share the link to the entire audience. You should be able to see it on the chat.
Thank you. So if we don't have, should we wait, or if we don't have any questions, then
Sorry. Hi.
hi. Sorry.
I have this is Faiza, sorry, from Residential Center. I have a question. Yeah, the presentation, thank you very much, was very informative. I just have a question for your center for FCJ at during this pandemic. What kind of services? I know you mentioned it. I couldn't get to the. I had some issue for the first slides when you mentioned about their services. I know you have a great services, but at this point, with the like how you are helping immigrants and the refugee, like are you helping with applications? If there is any, you know, if they need any assistance, how can you help them? Immigrant or refugee or newcomers, like what are you doing it virtually? I just need to know.
Thank you. Thank you again. Yes. Since COVID starts, our door has never been closed. It's open and still open. However, the way we support the client, it does take, I would say, just a little longer than how we usually help client in person. So basically all the services that we are providing in terms of immigrations, legal, housing, if there is any client in regards to the human trafficking, labor trafficking, all that, we are providing the services. It's not in person, has to be virtually, or and you can call us and the reception will be able to direct you to the person or the coordinator in charge. So yes, we still support with the refugee application, legal aid, all the matters surrounding the immigration, everything. Yeah, we are still open.
Okay, that's great. But other question, do you have interpreters if someone doesn't speak the language?
Yes, we have quite multilingual here. However, if there are any specific languages that the client speak and that we don't have a worker here, we can arrange an interpreter through myself over the online, and yes, we can do that through that route either.
That's great. Yeah, and last question, can we have access or can we have this resources or a copy of a presentation sent to us?
I'm not sure about that. I need to ask the Carolina how Carolina does the sharing.
Okay, so thank you very much for the presentation and all the resources and information.
You're welcome. If you can email me privately, definitely get back to you in this resource.
And most of our most of our webinars are uploaded in the website, so that's how you can access.
Oh yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's uploaded. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's
in
great.
our website.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
So basically, today you know, since the housing is a huge crisis, and also it's a very vast topic. So we do a very selective webinar on what particular housing topic we want to share. So this time is this one. However, if any of you, whatever housing concern you have, reach out to us. I'm definitely here, more than happy to help you, advocate, support, whatever you need. Kutu, can you state that in Spanish, please?
Bueno, ahora que ya estamos ya a punto de finalizar, este taller fue organizado en base a este tema hoy, pero si hay algo en particular que ustedes quieren que nosotros, de lo cual nosotros hablemos o presentemos en referencia a vivienda o a otros servicios de asentamiento, por favor contáctense conmigo directamente. Y yo estoy aquí para cualquier necesidad que ustedes necesiten apoyo o que nosotros podamos abogar por ustedes, contáctense conmigo, ¿ok?
All right, thank you all for attending webinar. I hope we are able to I hope we were able to answer and clear some of the confusion and give some information surrounding housing. Please email me or call me for anything that you need surrounding housing. I'll be here to support you, and that will be all. Thank you all so much, and stay safe.
Sorry, excuse me.
Hi, yes.
Sorry. Hi, sorry, before you close, I'm sorry for the interruption. Ursula, I'd like to say thank you for your presentation. It was really informative. I will have two short questions. Number one, how long is allowed for refugee claimants to stay in the shelter? How long is it allowed? Number two, is there any support like for families of 6, like big family? Will there be any support from the government to get a reasonable house to get a rented? I mean, to rent a house because it's so expensive. So will there be any special treatment for a family of 6 like that? Thank you.
And this is a refugee claimant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, every shelter has a different length of stay. Again, it will depend on that particular shelter and the worker who will be helping you with the housing matter. So again, to my knowledge, I honestly, like, I don't know how long anybody can stay. I mean, I know for the fact that it differs. The length is different, varies from each shelter, right? And secondly, if it's a family of 6, what are the other options? If you are in the city of Toronto shelter for more than 6 months, you will need to speak with the housing worker in your shelter to ask more information about the housing subsidy. You will be eligible to receive a housing subsidy. So housing subsidy is a financial assistance that help you with the rent. That's one thing. The other thing is when it comes to a big family, I understand it's a little bit complicated to look for housing. However, it's not impossible. You will need to there's some criterias that you need to look where you want to live. Are you planning to go start looking for work? Or are you planning to study? Or who else in the family will be working? If it's a couple, if it's husband and wife and the children, so you need to figure out if you're planning to work, right? That's one of the most important things that helps you in searching for the housing. Most importantly, as a family, as a newcomer, it's important to look out for a place where you know it's accessible to school, public transit. So you need to look out for all those to understand where you are looking for housing. And also there is a Tembeka says that you can call that number. Can you see that number? I will repeat. If you can write it down, it's 416-763-1303. This please call
416-763-1303. Okay.
For a big family, if you're in Toronto, and refugee claimant. Thank you, Tembeka,
Yes,
for that.
Can you repeat the
Yes,
number, please?
Sure. It's 416-763-1303.
Thank you.
So this
It's on the chat now for everyone to take note.
yes,
Okay.
it's in the chat. So that's certainly so. And also one of the other recommendation or suggestion that I have for a big family is it's always you know, you can look out for apartment building, right? It's a little bit different from the if you look for houses where the landlord will ask how many people are living, and also there is it's a legal thing, right? That there are certain people are allowed to live in certain amount of square footage in the houses. So I have a few clients who are big family that they rented apartment building where like 3-4 bedrooms, and it's more easier to accommodate. Again, please speak with your housing worker at the shelter to receive more information about the housing subsidy. If you're in shelter for more than 6 months, you're eligible to receive housing subsidy from City of Toronto.
Yes, what they say is there is just around 800 something schools. I mean, for the housing subsidy, the subsidy is like 600 some. I mean, 800 something. 800.
Yes, it depends.
So
it varies from 600 to 800. Yep.
yeah. So with that 800, we are still trying to find the house. Like when you search through the Viewit and other web-based searching tools, it is so expensive. It's like double. You don't get for with 3 bedrooms, usually above 1,700, 1,900, something like that.
So basically, this is how you have, like, you know, the subsidy plus the allowance from the Ontario Works, right? A family of 6.
Yeah, for the housing, it's like that. So for the other expenses, it's around 400 something.
Yes. So you have to calculate that with the allowance that you receive from the OW plus the subsidy. But again, it's nearly not possible to find something with the exact amount or even near to that, like what you receive subsidy, for example 800 and your allowance is 700 something, so it's 1,500, right? So it's not possible.
It's 400. Sorry, it's not 700. The housing allowance is 800 something, and the monthly allowance for the families 400 something.
Yes, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's not very possible, to be honest, to find housing, especially in this City of Toronto, exactly the amount of subsidy and the allowance that you receive from the Ontario Works. So I think it's first a good idea to lay out your plan and see how you will move forward. You know, if you move a little bit further away from Toronto, you know, it could be like it's little cheaper, right? In terms in compared to looking in city of Toronto itself. And also the other thing is you should while you're in shelter, I recommend that you apply for the subsidized housing. I know and I understand that there's a big wait time for that. However, any situations can change, right? Anything can happen, anything can change. So you can always like advocate. You can always ask for a worker to advocate on your behalf if for the subsidized housing, but it's first important that you apply for that also.
How do I apply for the subsidized housing?
It's let me put the.
Who did you give it to? No, she doesn't have it. Who does?
So this is the website that you go to, housingconnection.ca, and you have to you need to register yourself. They will also ask you to choose pick three what do you call, 3 options, but it's not necessary. You can leave that open as well.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
I work in a respite. It's part of the shelter system. So I'm a housing worker. So the housing workers help their clients to do all these things because it can be quite confusing. So if you're right now in a shelter and you have a housing worker there, please utilize them. Go and meet with them, let them know what your needs are, and they'll move heaven and earth to get you housed, to get all these things for you. And they're the best people to explain things to you, how it works. Because trying to understand it all just in a webinar is it's not going to happen. I mean, this is a fantastic webinar, but the city makes these things so complicated. There's eligibility requirements. I've seen clients feel overwhelmed by it. I tell them, don't worry, I'm just giving you the information, but I work behind the scenes to make all of this work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that information.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I have one resources for the shelters. I could share it with you.
Sure.
It's called Toronto Harbor Light Ministries. They do have a transitional, shelters and transitional homes for 11 months. So if you want to share, I could share the phone number, or even if you Google it, Toronto Harbor shelters or transitional home.
Okay, and is there a specific, is that for men and women or family?
I believe so. It's, yeah, for family.
Okay.
Can you share the link, please?
Transitional housing.
I don't have the link. I just have the name and phone number. If you want, I could share the. I could say it. I don't know because I. Okay, let me try if I could put it in the chat link. Otherwise, I could.
And I believe there is a wait list for that also. And also I'm not too sure if they need a referral from a particular organization or shelter.
They might. There is a form. They need to fill the form. I forgot. I talked to the person, but I forgot about the referral. They might need referral from the Omni Community Agency.
Yes. So again, this one is the transitional housing, and they can stay up to 11 months.
Yes.
And we do referral for that also, but I only do for single men. So you are more than welcome to reach out to us if in regards to that. Thank you for sharing that. That's very
No
nice. Work together.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. It was interesting. Have a nice day. I have another meeting. I have to join my meeting
Sure.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for attending. Thank you. I need to, Sarah has asked a question and I don't have a way to get back to that. It says, I have been looking for 1 month. I believe it's 1-bedroom apartment building for more than 6 months now. Anytime I apply for an apartment, I always get a decline. I don't know the reason for the decline. Sarah, I would like maybe you can ask why you have been declined. It's you're allowed to ask that, and it would be nice to know the reason why you have been declined. However, the other question is it any particular management company that you are doing it? Okay, they didn't give you any reason. Okay, and have you been applying for the same apartment all this time? Okay. I think I would like, you know, I mean, if you have been declined, there could be various reasons, but again, like most of the reasons that they give are not legal. So, you know, there are many discrimination, racism surrounding the housing search, right? So it's if they don't give the reason, it's hard to know. However, it's what do you say, like oh, if you are you applying for housing subsidy for this apartment? Because I know for the fact that not many what do you say, not many apartment buildings welcome people who are on Ontario Works or who are receiving subsidy. However, there are many out there that they do. So I think it depends again on the region, right? Like where you're looking at, and if the management there or if the super there is aware of what you're talking about, like the subsidy, housing subsidy, because not many majority are not aware, or they don't even know what housing subsidy is. So sometimes maybe if you explain to them what this is about, it may be helpful. You said that you have been in shelter for 8 months now and you have applied for housing subsidy. So I don't understand. So Sarah, if you know I know the fact that there are a few apartment buildings that they are aware of the housing subsidy if you are applying for that. And also they're aware of the people who are on an Ontario Works. So I can certainly help you sharing those information with you. Okay, great. All right, so we will close, we will end. It's almost 2 hours. It's really nice receiving all the information, exchanging information, and speaking here for today's webinar. I hope you could, it helps you a little bit. Thank you again. Stay safe